Thank you to our 4 sponsors for supporting our podcast: Johnny Russell's Art Caterers and Milltown Pies, Alexander Grace Law, Jez and Lisa's Spoonful of Sweets, and SPE Furnishings. Links to their websites are available in the show notes and on our website. Don't forget to subscribe to get all the latest episodes as soon as they're released.
Can you see everybody, Stan, or not?
No, I could just see whoever's speaking.
Whoa, Joe. Can I have 4 ice creams, couple of pizzas, and you sitting back in your corner, thanks. Hang on, this has gone all tits up now.
Oh, shit.
Everybody's gone.
Yeah, same with me. No,
Nicky, I'm on a tablet.
Nick, you know that new computer I got?
Says you need to be on your tablets.
No, I'm on a tablet, and I'm trying to work out what do I do to get everybody in it.
You're asking wrong. You're asking the wrong.
Oh, I'm in. No,
I look like what is it? Someone intelligent here, don't I?
I look like a what is it? Good start, Shez.
Order! Send Moorhouse to save the house! Come on, the house!
Yeah, no. What I will say about Lowerhouse, and I mean, you can cut and edit this in however you want, but it was a club, and I was fortunate enough to have that opportunity to play for a club, and it wasn't a group of individuals. It was a club on and off the field. It was a hell of a lot of fun. There was a social aspect to it, but there was also this huge desire to achieve on the back of 2004 when you guys won the cup. It was a group of individuals that were quite driven and knew that they had a window of opportunity for success, and they were able to take that. I think David Wren, no doubt, has been given the accolades that he deserves in terms of putting that together. But there was the team that went before, and Jez was part of the team that went before. They went through a lot of heartache and pain, and Finchy sort of touched on it a little bit, but that probably built what was for us to take over. And I was only there for a short period of time, for sort of 5 months, and you guys were able to build on that and go forth. And you look at that moment, 2004, the belief that, okay, we can actually win something into 2005 and then beyond. I mean, the success from that point in time was huge, and it was great to watch from afar. Personally, but to be able to be involved in that journey in such a small sample size was fantastic, and really grateful for the opportunity that Ranners gave me at the club. Not so much to play under you, Dooch, but that's another podcast for another time.
So what was your first cricketing memory, Stanley?
First cricketing memory, well, Bill Holt, Wednesday nights, Wednesday night training sessions with Bill Holt. My granddad used to take me to them. And, you go along, and Bill was like the old-fashioned cricket coach, a pair of khaki pants on, Lancashire sweater. He'd have a gang of 7 and 8-year-olds around him, and he'd be trying to tell us how to play cricket. And I probably can't remember fully, but I was like most kids, I'd have my bat and ball, and then you'd have to go and stand in field. But one session that we had with Bill, he'll be with me for the rest of my life. Sort of, it's etched on my brain. You'd never forget it if it happened to you. But Bill had it. I'd have my bat and ball. I mean, like most 7 or 8-year-olds, I got a bit fed up. Your turn to go and field. And it is at that age, it's boring, it's fielding. So you stood at fielding, start doing a few cartwheels, a bit of toppling, and start rolling up and down slope. Obviously, it's slope on field, and Bill, to be fair to him, he just used to turn a blind eye to these things. He was too busy showing people how to hold a bat and things like that. And fielders, everyone were at it basically. But then at 7:45, Bill used to get everyone to stand round him, and you'd stand in this big circle. Well, Bill had sort of, what have we learnt tonight, kids? And it'd do a forward defensive and show, and talk us through that. And then the kid next to me, this particular night, started sniffing, like making like a sniffing noise. I was like, what's he doing? And then he says to me, what's that in your ear? and I'd roll through biggest pile of dog shit. Obviously didn't know. And this dog shit was obviously matted in the air. That's what this kid was sniffing. Now, what obviously, so it's 100% true. This, and obviously, kids are merciless bastards at the best of times, aren't they? And I were known as shithead. Seriously, the other kids called me shithead for a good while after that. You know, it was just something you sort of learn to live with until something happened to someone else. But it was pretty harsh for a few weeks down there after that happened.
1986, there is a series of run-outs in quite a close game. It's involving the tea that the Rishton catering and tea room have kindly put together and brought into the dressing room. Can you tell me, Stan, what happened on that day?
Well, Scotty was the innocent participant in that, but it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. I can assure everybody now, we've not got 4 hours of it. If you ran, you splattered the back of your trousers with mud. You couldn't stop. It was horrendous. And we're playing at Rishton, and I'm batting with Higgy. And I said, right, Higgy, are you agreeable? We're going for everything. And as you can just picture Higgy, yeah. We're going for everything. Not an ounce of intelligence behind his response, but we're going for everything. He smashes the ball into the middle of the bat into the cup. The fielders haven't got a prayer of stopping it. Off I go. I get up 3/4 of the way down. Iggy's not moved. No. So you can imagine on that wet surface, the turning circle of the QE2, a few Roadrunner Acme skid marks and run out, trying to turn round by about 4 yards. I'm absolutely.
Queen Mary anyway, Stan, didn't you?
Yeah, well, on that surface, I probably turn round like Venus. I went to the changing room. I'm absolutely ripping. And in those days, at Rishton, you put your tea in a bag and write your name on it. So I threw his sandwiches out of the at Rishton in a fit of pit. Most unlike me, because not a lot of things ruffle me, but that just completely and utterly.
Stan?
Unfortunately for Chris, Iggy was out the last ball unexpectedly. And he came in and he just ate Scottish sandwich. Scotty came in, no sandwiches left. He said, Stan, he said, guys, he said, anybody see me sandwiches? I said, well, last I looked, Scotty, if you stand on that bench and look out through the skylight, they're nestling in that puddle in the carpet. And he was completely oblivious to Scottish sandwich. What did he say? That was Iggy. Absolutely oblivious to anything going on around him.
So, as I said, we're going to discuss the 2014 season. This was the first season after Francois' successful tenure as pro. And we were looking to carry on success with a new professional in Corbus Pienaar. So, Corbus, you signed the contract, you arrived at the club. What were your first impressions?
Yeah, it was quite a cold morning arriving at Manchester Airport, and the MD, renownedly Matt Stanley, picked me up in his Nissan van, and I got in there. And as me chatting away, driving back to Burnley, I don't think the clouds were higher than the top of the change rooms at the time. And we drove into Lowerhouse, and it was a grim Manchester morning. It was a grim Burnley morning there, and I got there. And the first impressions was getting to the ground and seeing Bob, I think it's Bob Spencer, busy painting the railings at the club. And that was quite special for me to see that the guys are actually so keen for the season to get going. Because if I remember correctly, that Friday was the Easter Friday when we had those games with all the youngsters around the club, and we had the 4 or 5 different pitches. And it was like, what struck me early doors was quite a community club and a community-based club, which I really enjoyed. And I could see there's a lot of passion from the members of the club to actually be part of the system. You know, you hear all these things and you see these things on social media, but to experience it first and that Friday was brilliant for me to actually become part of the Lowerhouse family.
I can remember Jack Hayes. You might have heard it. Jack Hayes, we decided to have a fun day, right, to make money on the Saturday. Well, we'd all been out for, I don't know why, we hadn't a match on the Saturday, so we had the fun day. So he says to me, right, I want you to go on the coconut shy. I said, right, I'll go on. He's laughing over. He said, go on the coconut shy, right, this is what you do. You hit a coconut, you give him a coconut, so a bag of coconuts. Anyway, I've been on about, I weren't feeling a bit worse for it. This bloke come up, his wife, and he looked like a weightlifter. He was about 6'3", muscles on muscles, 2 kids trailing behind him. She was there with handbag, picture the sea. So we borrowed this coconut shard off Lucas's. Frank Porter, when he wrote committee down there, he borrowed this coconut shard for us. I get on, how much? I'm just going to make this up, 50p for 3, but something like this, I can't remember. Anyway, he has a go, and they were going at 100 miles an hour, but nowhere near coconuts. Anyway, you could hear whoosh, whoosh, it's like that. Anyway, he must have had about, he got the money, he must have had 4 quid's worth. And he says, hey, are them stuck on? I said, oh, wait, I'm not. So me, I tunnels over, lifts them all up, as you do, one by one. No, they're not. I'm having one more do, and I'm like praying. I'm like, will you hit a bloody coke? Anyway, he manages, I don't know which one, he hit one. So I rushes over, gives him coconut, thanks very much, goes and puts no coconut back up. Anyway, Frank Porter's walking past about 10 minutes later. He's looking. He says, what's happened? I said, what's happened? What's it bloody coconut? I'll bloody give it to him. He said, yeah, look, they're Woodlands. And I give him, seriously, I give him a wooden coconut and put a reel in back off top of thing. Anyway, so we had a bit of a tannoy system, and here's this, I don't know who it was. Has anybody got a wooden coconut? I could just imagine him digging his teeth into it. You know, I thought if he comes back, I'm getting clobbered here. You know, complete true story. And it made the Burnley Express at Christmas, right? Because it made it week after, because somebody split on me, and it got it Burnley Express. And it was in a quiz at Christmas, which player give a wooden coconut on their fun day?
Brilliant, Ryan. Absolutely brilliant.
It's true, completely true. And yeah. I mean, I might have to swear. Jack Hayes says, what we having on, what we doing? Anyway, he got all this organised. It was going really, really well. And they got a fortune teller just to make a, we were on 50%. Whoever she took, we got 50%. So this fortune teller gets there. Anyway, she just started, and another fortune teller turned up, right? So Jack Hayes says to her, what's going on here? She says, why are you here? She said, well, I should have said, look, if you're any fucking good, you'd have known she were coming. So you can go.
So just throwing it forward, last episode we did quite a bit on the 2002 semi-final. So we get to another final in 2004. I'll let you talk about the game as a whole, but obviously first half didn't go so well for us. But it definitely did feel different at half-time in 2004 than it did 2002. I'm not saying we were confident, because we obviously weren't, but it didn't feel as much of a lost cause in 2004 as what it did in 2002. Would you agree with that?
Massively. I think you're right, Joe. We weren't confident. There was certainly no confidence or arrogance in the dressing room. We tried to be positive, didn't we? But there was certainly no thinking this is a straw in the park because you're chasing 300. It isn't. But I think the bit more of the positivity in 2004 had come from the back of they should have got 370.
Yeah.
And they probably would have done if the little spinner from the park didn't get. Say again.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, Matt. If you remember, Peterson was smashing us everywhere, and it did look like this is going to be, a record score. We're not going to get near it. And for some, I've got the scorecard in front of me. For some reason, we got it back. Andy Barker got stumped, and obviously a fantastic off spinner, Joe Beneduce, caught and bowled Peterson for a mere 148, and we clawed it back. I remember
we did massively.
Yeah, I remember that. And all of a sudden, you're going into the dressing room and you're thinking, hang on, this is on now. It's still 310, but it's on, is this?
Yeah, I remember, and I'm sure you will as well, Joe. You'd got Peterson out. All right, your figures don't look fantastic, mate, but you got Peterson out. But again, it was the old thing that you got him out. Then 2-8 at next 3 balls, something like that. Rob Green hit into part, didn't he?
The last over hit me for 21.
Did he? Is that what it were? Right.
Yeah.
Cracky, I didn't remember that. Is that what happened?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
I didn't know, but I remember it. Looking at it, he got 24. Did that Rob Green?
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, it's that classic thing as a captain. I mean, I probably got a wicket in the second to last over, so you left me on for the last over. But look at the bowling figures again. Fultz only bowled 7, Jez only bowled 5, Finch only bowled 2. If I, I were only bowling because everybody else had gone the distance, weren't I? That was the thing, and only because I got a wicket fairly late on, you left me on. But obviously, in hindsight, it might have been better just to say, "Well done, get your coat, get your jumper off your pop." But it's easy to look back 15 years later.
Yeah. I don't think that weren't the last over of the game.
You don't think it were?
No, it weren't.
It must have been. It must have been. Rob Green got 24 not out. I think it were. Anyway, it might rather the last or very, very near the end.
Because I thought we got Peterson out a bit earlier than that.
We might have. It might have been Barker. It might have been Andy Barker that was a later wicket.
Could have been. But you look at that again, and you look. But I can't answer it because I bet if you went through every season I was captain, and it's no disrespect to it's just the same bowler, 2 for 60 off 10. Jez 1 for 33, Fultz 1 for 42. That's probably bowling spell of my own. I remember more than anything that was best of ball for a long time. But then just looking at that, but anyhow, so I think the big thing were at Church. Mark Higgs just took us apart, and they carried on. The amateurs carried on. Where I think we stemmed them down a bit. So although we didn't go in as favourites or confident, we went in at a damn sight better frame of mind than we did in 2002.
Yeah.
And we were a significantly better side as well, probably, weren't we, in 2004? Our league position at the end of the season tells that story.
Yeah, massively, yeah. And again, Finch at the top 3, top 5, if you look at it. But 30 odd and two 30s from Finch and Fultz, then both getting out fairly closely together, if I remember rightly. Within 20 odd runs of each other, I'm thinking, oh Jesus, could have done with one of them staying in, but obviously then the rest is history with the way Blaise and Charlie battered, and I'll never forget that. And I did study this scorecard quite a lot in the early times after that, and there was something like 90% of balls in a 20 over spell between overs 20 and 40, they scored off them. And whether it ones and twos, obviously Blaise was considerably a lot younger then. Charlie's always been fit as a fiddle, and they just ran him to death.
Yeah.
But again, I think if that had been 2002 or earlier, when Blaise and Charlie got out, we'd have got beat.
Yeah, Matt, I agree 100%, and this is where I want to come on and put you on the spot a little bit. You look there, Blaise 91 balls for 107. Yeah, all right, he's got 40, 80 odd in boundaries, but they ran the socks off him.
Yeah.
And then you look at that same lad Green. I can't even remember who he is. Benbo's got 21 off I don't know how many balls. You come in, you get out for 3. Can you remember that? What happened there?
Yeah.
I think what he's asking you, why you were batting above me, I think that's what he's asking you in a roundabout way.
I think if you look at one of the games in season, Joe, I owned, and that's where I should have batted. But anyhow, if I'd have hit it, it'd have landed on Spar car park. But I didn't hit it. I don't know. And then Joe, it was just one of them. I think, but both me and Joe were predominantly hit straight. I'm a little bit more leg-sided than Joe's. And I just went in. I think I went in and I just thought I was going to try and put 2 or 3 in park. Benbow had done something similar, but batted a little bit sensibly. He got out in exactly the same way.
Yeah.
And I'd just gone in and just tried to put 2 or 3 in park and just get it over the line. And missed it, right? And Joe and Benny came in and did exactly what we needed. But whether that had been Joe or Ben, obviously too, Joe quite experienced then, Ben only a kid. Lowerhouse, if you will, fought like in the blood. We wouldn't have won that 3 or 4 years ago. No chance. If we did what we were there, 263 for 6, 283 for 7, in the semi-final, they did another 30. We'd have been 290 all out.
Yeah, and when you look at that, you're right, Matt. 252 for 5, and Charlie's gone, Blezer's gone. You know, Bembo has probably gone then. I think you would have been out at that stage. You know, you'd have thrown your bat right across the ground, probably broke a couple of windows as you came in. And then Joe and Ben have to go and pick up the pieces. I do, you know, that's where, you know, and I'm not taking anything away from Blez or Charlie in this game and in the final, which we'll come on to. But there is other little points within the game that sway things. Yeah, there's the superstars, and yeah, there's things that happen, but there's little bits of things that, you know, Ben's run out of Knowles in the final, and little things that change games, which, yeah, you can train all you want, you can call it luck, or you can call it that habit, you know, like you just said, you know, 2002 and probably for a million years before then, it could have been, you know, unlucky Lowerhouse, things didn't go right. You know,
great effort.
Yeah, great effort, well played, never mind, let's have a pint and you can all go home.
I want to talk about a peanut allergy gate. So this was a game early 2013. I think it was in the Interleague or Lancs knockout.
Yeah.
And you missed a majority of the game, or you missed a large portion of the game. For what? Tell us.
Oh my God. That's a cashew, that, Jez.
Yeah.
So it weren't peanut, guys. It weren't peanut. It was cashew. Yeah, it was an allergy I weren't aware of, actually. So Saturday morning. I've been out actually at a birthday party at Lowerhouse Creek Clubhouse that night before, but I've driven home. I didn't drink that night. I don't really drink anyway. But that bit of the story comes into it later on. Rocked up. Me and my dad had this tradition where we'd rock up to the nets about 10:30 I'd meet him. We'd hit a few bags of balls before heading off to the game. Now I've finished doing my before I've started doing the nets. I've got to the nets before him on this particular occasion, or he might have been talking to the groundsman down in the corner. He usually used to do that. I've gone to see Sean. Sean used to clean the clubhouse back then. I've gone to see him. He said, "Oh, Johnny, try these. You know, they're brand new at the minute. They're well good." I said, "Oh, what are they?" He went, "Naked bar, they're called." And he literally spelled NAKD on this bar. They're like a breakfast bar. He goes, "Hey, look at this chocolate orange flavour, mate." I went, "Oh, I'll give it a try. I mean, I like chocolate, love orange mixture, Terry's, love it. Let's give it a go." As one bite, I shit you not, it was disgusting. It was disgusting. It tasted like piss, right? Next thing you know, my mouth just begins to water like a waterfall. And then instantly, it just dried up. It dried up. All of a sudden, I've had my tonsils out, right? But you know the big, thick, dangly bit at the back? That was that swollen. It was sat on my tongue, right? I like it. Next thing you know, I am projectile vomiting all over the place. What does my dad do? Comes over to the clubhouse 10 minutes later. I'm there, over the step, giving it all this. You're fucking rough, aren't you? No, I didn't drink last night. No, what was you? You fucking rough, aren't you? You had a drink last night, didn't you? And, you know, drinking and getting hungover and getting pissed out for a game, you know, then was just a no-no. That calls for a bollocking from Father Mark. So at this time, I've not got him on my side. You know, he's watching his son die in front of him. We get to the net, goes behind, I'm padded up, Oh, I'm hitting these balls. I can't see out, Joe. My eyes are watering. Well, he went, you're struggling, aren't you? No, hold. This is getting worse. By this point, I can't talk. Tinker is messing around with his little lad in the net. So he comes over and I think, look at him. So Tinker grabs my face. He goes, Mark. He says, I'm not being funny, mate. You have to take him to hospital. It won't look good. Next thing you know, all I remember is being past his seat. I get to A&E. I get seen to ASAP. They give me this medication. 3 minutes later, I'm outside puking that up. Next thing you know, I wake up on a drip on this hospital bed, just like, what does my dad do? He fit to play some. Takes me to Tottington. I get padded up and goes out and back. Finished not out with Jack Edgar, about 12 not out. I were green for rest at weekend. And then, you know what he says to me? He has the audacity to say to me at the end of the game, ooh, I don't think I should have played. Should have played really early, should you? Should have not, Dad. Cheers for that, mate. Yeah, I only look like Wicked Witch off Wizard of Oz.
You played with Jez and Stan for the Police as well, didn't you?
Oh, I did.
Now, one of my favourite stories, which I don't think's been told on the podcast, is when you went to Scotland.
Oh, yes. As you know, I am very poor with money. Aren't you, Jeremy?
Well, it doesn't matter, Shez. It doesn't matter. You know, you always pay us back somehow.
Jeremy used to look after me with money. But one trip to Scotland, him and Stan decided that they weren't going to look after me. And Scotty and Neil Gregson are all my friends. So off we went to Scotland. And I had to run into Preston, making the bus late. And I got back on the bus, I had 93 pence on me. 93 pence. I remember it distinctly thinking, I'm going to be really hungry tomorrow afternoon.
And thirsty.
No. I could always have a wee, Jez, as you know. Anyway, Stan took the piss out of me all the way to Scotland. We got to Iron Bridge and he was throwing pieces of cress at me. I knew that he'd look after me. He always would look after me. There were no way Stan's my lifelong friend, remember. But in those days, I was 26. I was annoyed and whatever and blah, blah, blah. So I'm sat with Jez and we get to Scotland. We all get in the hotel, and the bosses say to us, "Right, we're going playing golf. You lot better sort yourselves out. We've got a really important game tomorrow. Make sure that you're all right for the game in the morning." Yeah, no problem. So I walk up to this woman behind the bar. She says, "Whatever you do, then I go down the hell." Dinner, go down the hell. You're down the hell, you did. So we all look round at each other as we're going down fucking hill. And off we went down the hell into Glasgow. And I stood outside this place at 11:25 with Jez up saying, "Do you think you want sauce on your fish and chips, Jez? Are you just going to have salt and vinegar?" He said, what we said, he said, "Do you want sauce with your fish and chips?" I said, "We're having sauce." We walk back up the hill. Have we been doing the hill? Wake up in the morning. Opie says, "Shez, I'm pissed." I said, "Yeah, so am I." We get up, walk downstairs. Ken Ashburn's there, looking like a Freemason. "What have you been?" "No problem with me, Ken." We go to the ground, we look at wicket, and it's like looking at Green Hill snooker table. Stan, by the way, gobshite, all the way from Lancashire. By the way, I've got lost in Preston, waiting for 2 hours, all the way to Scotland, took piss out to umpire Brian Upwood. Brian Upwood was a right good lad, but he had the world's thinnest pads. If he'd been hit with a tennis ball that had broken his leg, and he used to hit his pads every time he got out for a duck. He once scored 6 points at Stableford. That's good, isn't it? Died good. Anyway, he took piss out of Oppie all the way up to Scotland. Hippity hoppity. You told us that joke, didn't you? That you could never get the end to because you're shit at telling jokes, aren't you, Brian? Yeah, because you're not funny. Blah, 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 blah. We go out on this green top, second ball, it's in right in front. How is he stand? You fucking outstand, off you go. Walks past him, holding his breath, 500 miles, 300 quid, 100 quid he'd lent me, away we go.
I'm pretty sure it was a rain-affected game at Enfield. And Stan brought in one of Stan's stories, clips already. He's already told the joke about the single brown hair ad in the Lonely Hearts column. But I'm pretty sure it was the same thing. And Chris liked doing crosswords, so he's got his Sunday paper and doing crosswords in corner. And Stan kept saying, "Well, give us a clue. Come on, we're bored. Come on, give us one we can one you can't get and all this." And he were whining, Scott. He said, "No, I'm just doing my crossword. Leave me alone, Stan." Okay? And Stan wouldn't let it go. And eventually, Chris gives in. He says, "All right then, Stan." He said, "I'll give you a clue. I can't get with this one. I'm stuck. So you might be able to help me out. 8 down, horseman's sack." So all dressing in, think of it, and sure enough, Stan straight away. "Well, how many letters, Scotty?" "Fucking millions, Stan. Fucking millions." Tables went over. Kicks flying around room. It were unbelievable.
One of my questions that I had written down was a really nice day. I can remember there being a really good wicket, and we bowled first. As we did in the final. And I can remember people thinking, or people wondering why we'd, after we'd conceded 300, why we'd bowl first. I don't know if that was part of the game.
In the final, why? Because
well, we won the toss and fielded both games.
Absolutely, yeah. Predominantly, but 2 reasons. One, they're professional, who we'd had Muster Bird Pro, we'd played against him a couple of times, and he was one of them pros that I always thought when I playing against him, no matter how many you get, he'll set his stall out to get them. If he's got to set your total, he has to do something different.
Yeah.
I haven't played against Peterson that much. I can't really remember why I stuck them in, but that was my thought process. I never remember that. Rothwell, as his chairman.
Mark Rothwell, yeah.
Mark Rothwell, walking around ground, 10 man with 2 rolls of carpet under his arm, saying, "That's it, they've stuck us in, game over, never stick someone in a cup final." But I felt when I was lifting cup, I couldn't find him. I didn't know where he'd gone.
Just on captaincy, I just want to ask you or make a point about captaincy in the cup final. I mean, we're all captain sides. You're making decisions even before the game starts. You're making 100 decisions a game. Most of them are quite insignificant, whether you're having your third man up or back or whatever. It's very rare you can look at a game and pinpoint the outcome of it on a captaincy decision. But in this game, your decision to bring Ben on possibly won us the match. Would you agree with that? I mean, obviously, there are a lot of other things that go with it. But again, like the semi-final, we would have been chasing a hell of a lot more had Ben not been introduced when he was and turned the game with the run out and then the wickets thereafter.
Yeah, I can remember it. I remember Jez fielding it mid-on or mid-off, and our shouts, "Ben, park end next over." And Jez actually said to me, "What the f are you doing?" And I just, Barry Knowles were in, Dearden were in, and anything that they were just in through the line. It was a good track. It was short end to park. They were just hitting through the line. And I just thought, I'm just going to try someone that they might not have seen. And if it might have only been 2 overs, might have all backfired. But at that stage, I think we were going for 7 or 8 and over, whoever were bowling. It could have backfired and it could have gone for 10 or 15 and over. I just thought, I'm just going to try someone that they haven't seen.
Because he didn't bowl in the semi-final. He played and didn't bowl in the semi-final.
No, he didn't bowl a lot that year, to be fair.
No.
It was just, I don't know, it was just something. I don't know. It just, a hunch, just a thought. But I was thinking, I need to do something. I need to do something different here. We've got our 5 or 6 bowlers. It wasn't an end to bring. Benbow couldn't bowl at that end to them two. You couldn't bowl at them two, Joe. The way they were batting, the way they were hitting it, and I just thought something a little bit different. Jez had got the pro out bowling from pavilion end. Fultz the bowl from pavilion end. I think I come on after Sid. And I didn't go around the park, but I remember I think they probably got a boundary and over for 2 or 3 overs. And I just, my only thought on it was I need to do something different. I've just got to try something different that they might not have seen.
And you know what, Matt? We've just, you know, people talk about inspired captaincy and, you know, the things that change. I remember it. You remember you saying to me, my biggest concern then was you can't bowl from park end. But that is what had been ingrained into me right from Roger Bromley's days. You know, Stan will confirm that, you know, if Roger went anywhere near the park end, he used to come out in cold sweats.
Yeah.
Pros would never bowl from the park end. Certainly, you know, certainly mediocre pros or pros that didn't want to, you know, be part of the team. So I had that ingrained in me, thinking, Matt, what are you doing here? You know, I had some overs left then. I bowled 3 spells. You know, you look at Sid, he's only bowled 3 overs. He's been our main amateur bowler all season. And yet, and this is me thinking at the time, our captain's not going to bring him on when there's a bit of pressure on. He's bringing this young lad on at the really, you know, the difficult end to bowl at. But, you know, inspired captaincy. And it's like we said before, you know, it's, what did Stan used to call it? It's Jules the Creek that haunted our cricket ground. Well, all of a sudden, I think that one move might have just buried that, you know, that old adage that we were doomed all the time. And that moment that Ben tipped the ball onto the stumps, which ran, it was Barry went, Barry Knowles out. That's when it turned the tide. In fact, I think that's like, you know, I've only just thought about it now. That's what it did, because I didn't agree with you.
No, I know that, and I'd never been in that position, obviously, in a final before. It was something else, and you're right, Jez, about the whatever Gilles de Creek. What's he putting up now?
He's asking you to tell us who got their pro out and how.
I will do. Yeah, I will do. Yeah. And you know when they say it's all cursed and we're never going to win anything, there must have been some horrible person buried a load of monks under the ground and all this that Stan used to come out with. But it was even better looking back at it now when the actual wicket, it weren't a great leg cutter or Yorker or a slower ball. I think the ball would have gone for 4.
Yeah.
If he hadn't caught his finger on it and knocked it onto stumps.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that things like that do just change the momentum, don't they?
It changed the whole game.
It was Jez who got the pride, believe it or not. Stan caught Charlie Cotton in his groin area.
In his knees, yeah, definitely.
In his knees. When he nicked that seemed to go in slow motion. I don't remember that, Joe Martin. It were a great ball of Jez. It just left him left-hander. He nicked it, and he went in slow motion. He's like, we've got him. He's only got 10, 15. We've got him. Yeah. We've got him. And then Charlie catches it with both feet off his ground.
Yeah, no.
And like, what is it? You know, like he caught a beach ball. And everybody just jumped up and down. Charlie's got ball there. It was just proper slow motion of how he'd done it. And that he would just, how he caught it. Yeah.
It was fantastic. And again, you know, Stan's mentioned earlier, you know, self-praise is no praise. But, it was a fantastic little cutter. It was. He landed. What I will say though is I don't know if anyone else has. You will have seen the research and done the research for how long? Have you seen my figures for that season?
Yeah, I've got them here.
Go on, Joe.
Jez bowled.
Batting first.
Batting. Jez, you got
innings?
4 runs, 8 innings. Average of
good average of half.
Good. 3 not 8, so it's an average of 1.75.
Average of 1.75.
Fair enough.
And then bowling, 109.5 overs, 12 wickets at 43.6.
You used to bowl them back end of April, Jez. We injured?
No, you didn't bowl me, you tosspot.
Too busy bowling Sidri has.
One of the things that I think from that that was Jez's last year. I have another stat for Jez, which was who his last ever wicket was for in the first team at Lowerhouse. He can have a think about that if he wants. But in lots of
pro afterwards.
No,
his last amateur wicket.
Yeah. But in the seasons previous to that, Jez, I've commented it on before. The sheer amount of overs that you bowled for the cricket club, and then in 2004, your last year, you must not have been able to walk when you went to work on a Monday. It must have been incredible.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I walk like I walk now. But there are no regrets, Joe. No regrets. It's all for a good cause.
Come on, Joe. Put us out of his misery with his last wicket.
His last wicket was Phil Sykes. 7, caught Blaise. Joe Beneduce in the league in 2004. You took 1 wicket.
All right, good.
Do you know who it was?
No.
Sean Lemon, caught and bowled.
Sean Lemon, good
caught
player.
And bowled. Yeah, good player. That's what I thought when I saw it. Yeah, I've written a lot of stats down, but let's talk. Should we talk about the batting innings of 2000 of the cup final?
Yeah, definitely. Again, we went in at the interval, not confident. I think we'd done a good job. 231, I think, was probably a touch below par. Good track, nice day, and that top 5, 6, or 7 that we had, fairly confident. One of them had to go on and get a good one. We lost Finchy and Vishal early doors. It's a bit of a worry. Fultz come in and played like Fultz does. Always seemed to get out to the most innocuous bowler. You know what I mean? And then Blaise and Charlie. I think that's probably the best partnership. Better than the semi-final. It was, again, if you look at that one, they even less boundaries, 11 fours apiece and 1 6, and they did exactly the same as they did in semi-final. Again, I think there were 25 overs at middle of the innings.
Yeah.
Well, Haslingden probably thought they were on top, but they were scoring 5 and 6 and over.
Mm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Must have gone none for 40.
Yeah.
Off 10, and they were a great bowler. And they just, I can't remember. I'm sure I looked how many times they hit him for boundary. Blaise reckons it were 1 or 2 in the 10 overs, but they just 1, 2. Obviously, Charlie were like a bloody whippet, weren't they? Still is. And Blaise were how many years ago? 16 years ago. So he would have been 60 then, wouldn't he? So he was a lot younger. And he's always been a fit lad, hasn't he? So, but that was just great. And the good thing about that, not the good thing for Charlie, because it'd have been great for them two to both walk out, not out. When he was out, I wasn't anywhere near as concerned as I was when them two were out in semi-final. And to answer your question, Jez, you put it, I think, either on email or on WhatsApp. You're looking at there that Blaise and then Ben went in and battled with Jez, and it's got me down as next to bat. There's not sure I weren't going in next.
Well, there's also not sure you didn't get me to get my pads on after that.
No.
Our having kittens in changing room. I mean, it was only a very short spell of time, but I was padded up, and I remember never having felt fear like that. And we only needed single figures. But I just thought, if I have to go in now, I don't know if I'll be able to hold bat.
I'm exactly the same. And I didn't have my pads on.
Because it was pitch black as well by that stage.
It wasn't.
It weren't pitch black, but it was dark.
Joe, yeah, if you think there, it was an extraordinary hot afternoon. Clearly going to be some sort of storms at some stage. The forecast kept changing as to when they were going to come, when they weren't going to come. And I think as he realised that they'd slipped up, as you said, Mark, with letting Charlie and Blaise get the 4, 5, 6 and over without really pushing the score along, And then the clouds sort of rolled over, but it wasn't that cloudy. But you could tell it was going to rain, and Dearden started bowling bouncers.
Yeah.
You remember that, man? And he was just bowling, and the umpires were telling him you can't do that, but he continued to bowl them. And Blaise, I think twice he did it. He just like uppercut it, where he uppercut it, and it went. I think one went for 6 and one went for 4 into the park. And then we actually came off for rain, and we're all like putting the covers on. But I don't think it was as hard as we expected it to be.
Or certainly for any length of time.
Yeah. But it's got pitch black. It's more difficult. And again, I don't know if that Jules de Crete were kicking in. We're thinking, oh, this is all against us. But, Haslingden, a little bit more professional than us. It's a wet ball. They weren't up for it when they came back. They wanted to go off.
I remember twice. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Barry Knowles. We're fielding at long on in front of dressing rooms.
Yeah.
And 2 straight 4s got it.
Yeah.
And as the ball had hit the boundary or the sight screen, he starts running the other way, trying to think he can't see it.
Yeah, that's right.
But I remember, and good on them, because I wouldn't put them down as the 2 strong umpires, but the 2 umpires were really strong that day.
Wait, Rutter
and that
Alan Fenwick.
Fenwick. And they were really strong, like I said, like that. They said about Dearden, because Haslingden, when we come off for rain, I know it didn't rain for long or for very heavy, but they were coming back now after.
Yeah, that's what they were after.
That shadow of a day, that's all they wanted. Are they to spoil our party?
Yeah.
Because it was still massively in our favour at that time, but obviously Blaise and Charlie had to start again. It'd have been a different thing. There'd been hardly any crowd on. But all credit to the umpires to get straight back out. Obviously finished the game that night. It's probably a good job they did. I remember having a conversation. It's probably a good job they did go back out that night, because I don't think I'd have been there to pick Cup up.
No.
I think there'd probably been a police car coming through, because one of them umpires would have. Yeah, because I remember it was brilliant. They just said, no, we're going back out. It's fake. Come on, we've played it for 10 overs. We're going back out.
Good.
So,
I watched the video of it last night as my final bit of research on it. And during this lockdown, actually, I've watched quite a lot of the Lowerhouse videos of when we've won stuff, just to try and jog my memory. But I watched that one last night. As Blaise sort of rocked back and hit that last boundary, what were your immediate thoughts in that? Because I can remember mine running onto the ground. But what were you thinking at the time?
I don't know. I also don't know. It was probably about 15 minutes after when it started to sink in and hit home. I think relief, probably, when it that winning run. I don't have to go put my pads on. Probably. And I can't believe what we've just done.
Yeah.
As much as anything. And then when it calmed down, and we're in the dressing room and outside with the drinks, the champagne and families and stuff like that. That's when it hit all. But I think it was more. I can't believe what's just happened. You know what I mean? Obviously elation and stuff like that. But majority of it was like, oh my God, what we just done.
I felt as though I owed the club, I owed the supporters when I left early, and I just hated, leaving, because when I walked in, Renner's, oh my God, Dave Wren, for me was obviously there's a lot of people, contribute to the club, but Renner's for me. I heard Dooch saying last night, it was unplanned, but I felt as though Renners, I should say, he found someone that was going to be at the time contributing to the club ultimately, but the team, and he got those right people in. And the guys you speak about, myself and Macca, Motti, who I used to sit next to at work, and Van Yalsford, all these guys that did well at the club, and he's obviously invested. He did a lot of investigating with these sort of the guys that he got in. It's funny, like you say, Jez. He sort of dismissed it a bit last night, Dooch, but Macca was right where the way you see it, the way we saw it, the way he saw it, the way Macca saw it, and the way I understood it was that not that yes, it's amateur cricket, but yes, also you look about it was almost like Renners and the people around Renners and the people in the club were building a club, because the people that were there that would all would do certain roles, and that was the way you build success. And from an outsider now, that was the way we won flags. We won. We at Lowerhouse that we won flags, and the feeling in the club, that was the thing. The passion to play for the club was there, and that was why I had to come back after 2003 to try and do that. 2005 I was supposed to come back, and that was the year we won it. And I was filthy when I wasn't there, obviously, but I came back the year after. But it was a club that it is a club that if I could tomorrow, I'd come and play back. I'd come and play this season. I'd love to be back there.
Order! Send Moorhouse to save the house.